Psalms 58:3. The wicked are estranged from the womb. They go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies. Luke 8:17. For nothing is secret that shall not be made manifest, neither anything hid that shall not be known and come abroad. Call halal Yahweh Bahasham Yahushai Bahasham Rakaha Kodash. Double honors unto the apostles, double honors unto the elder bishops. Salutations to all my fellow laborers doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so. Now more so than ever, the 144,000 and the scattered elect that are scattered around the four corners of the earth, that be like unto the speckled bird, the Israelite foreigners among the heathen that look like those heathen. And to the few Akwaf that are listening and learning, to you I say Shalom. This is your brother Malcolm from the branch of the Great Millstone, coming at you another lesson in truth. And this was a video I watched this morning. And I was going to do another one, Lord's will. This video that I actually started to do before the Spirit brought me back to this one. Lord's will, I'll actually do that one in the morning. But as you can see, this was all over the airwaves. The two women sexually assaulted assaulted at a Bahamas report, and I called it. I called it. I was like, this story is so weak, and these women willfully, had sex, and they probably felt guilty or were afraid that they were going to be caught. And they changed the story up and said that they were raped. Men were arrested. You got to think, man, a lot of so-called black men, all right, died in the earlier part of the 19th century behind women like this who would lie, all right? They would lie and say they were raped, or they would, or they be having a secret relationship with the man of color. They get caught. And they'll tell their family or their brothers, their fathers, or whatever, and the white mob, the Edomite mob, would come with their pickup trucks and their crosses and their shotguns and their, and they beat people to death, and sometimes even the wrong people, just to send a message. But that sort of thing happened, and I'm going to let them tell the story. But I called this. This whole story was suspect. When I listened to them, what they were saying, I was like, these women willfully went and had sex, and then, for whatever reason, someone was threatening to tell on them, or they thought they were seen, whatever. So, and now the name of this video is, this was on the Poor Man's Broadcast or podcast, and you can see the title at the bottom of the screen. Two moms caught lying about what happened in the Bahamas. So all I can say is about this one, I called it. The Spirit revealed it. I called it, and it was almost exactly what I said it was. So without any further ado.
Thought they were on a dream vacation in paradise until it turned into the holiday from hell.
I ran and I was screaming.
Amber Shear and her best friend Dongela Dobson were on a mom's getaway, taking a Carnival cruise to the Bahamas.
No kids, no men, just us. Like we're back at 4-H camp. That's where we met. 4-H camp in 4th grade.
The two moms say
when women go to the Bahamas, to Jamaica, we all remember the comedic character of Dexter that was done by Eddie Murphy. All right. When they go to these, and it doesn't matter whether it be a so-called white woman, a so-called black woman, when women go to the Bahamas without their men, they're going there to get that BBC. They want that BBC energy. All right. And that story after story after story right here on, you can just Google it, the subject matter. All right. Google Rent-A-Dread. All right. I actually used to bounce when I was a bouncer back in the day with a big old Benjamite dude. They used to call him the Northern Kingdom used to call him the Predator. He was so big and so wide when he would walk through the club with them long locks flowing down his back. brother named Wes, Big Wes. And Wes would go home and be a rent-a-dread for like 4 or 5 months out of the year, peak holiday season, and then he'd come back, to the Americas and do the nightclub, be a bouncer again. It was actually decent money in the clubs back then. But I digress.
They were having a great time until the last day of their vacation. That's when they left the cruise ship and went ashore. They say they were looking for seashells on the beach when a staff member from the resort offered them a 2-for-1 drink special, which they accepted. Then another staff member said he could guide them to where the best shells were located.
So he was like, yeah, I know where the best shells was. He was rubbing himself and winking at her. And they got all excited about some new shells. You see, my man started laughing.
It was the worst decision we've ever made.
We noticed, like, we're starting to feel these drinks.
So come follow me for these shells. Have a drink while we're at it. Come on, man.
Pretty strongly.
Do you think those drinks were drugged?
Most certainly.
They absolutely were drugged.
The friends tell me they have only limited memories of what happened next.
I came to be raped by my assailant. I remember.
Son of a...
We've given it 3 weeks to try to simulate.
And watch them make that the screensaver.
Pushed down. I vaguely remember the guy's face and the facial hair.
The moms say they were both left covered in bruises and tested positive for the presence of sedatives and other drugs back.
So it makes me wonder, did they, whack each other on the legs or something to get the bruises? Or was the sex really just that rough, that they that they willfully had? Wonder how those marriages are going right about now.
On the ship. The mom's ordeal comes less than 2 weeks after the U.S. State Department issued a Level 2 advisory warning American tourists to exercise increased caution in the Bahamas due to crime. 18 people were slain just in January, most victims of gang warfare. Were you aware of the State Department travel warning?
Gang warfare has nothing to do with
No,
this.
after we left the infirmary back to our rooms, after we have done full kits, that's when our family notified us.
Nicholas Gerson is their attorney.
The law requires cruise lines to warn about dangerous conditions that they know or should have known about.
And see, this is the subject matter for tomorrow's video. Attorneys, let's get his face really good, because American attorneys, all right, American attorneys and judges and most police officers are treasonous citizens. You say, Malcolm, well, why do you say that? I say that because these people, all right, when they arrest you, all right, before a trial without a grand jury or indictment, they're breaking the law, all right? They're completely, totally breaking the law, and they lie to you and they trick you into saying things. Basically, and even more so, what they do is they're applying codes and statutes and they use these codes and statutes to circumvent the actual law of the land, because constitutional law, the law of the land, trumps laws and statutes. And lawyers are sworn to the bar, the British Admiralty Royalty. I'm kind of getting ahead of myself, because this was supposed to be in tomorrow, but I forgot that this lawyer was in this video. All right. And anytime that they're applying statutes and codes and laws to you by the state statute, so and so from article, if it's not coming out of the law of the land, because if there's a harmed individual, all right, that individual has to come with what is called a verified criminal complaint. All right, I guarantee it. So basically, if they don't have that, then they have nothing on you. All right, a state's attorney or a district attorney can't write it because they work for the government, so they can't write it. So if there is because if a crime is committed, there has to be a victim, and if the victim hasn't, a verified criminal complaint is not there present in the court, you should be able to walk right out of there. All right? Because only a citizen or a person can write it. Okay? The state can't do it. That's an imaginary entity. All right? And so without that, the state can't prosecute you. So what I'm saying is that these lawyers, they commit fraud, and the judges allow them to do it. All right, because they use these statutes and these codes. All right, and it's a trick used by the court, and it's fraud, and it's criminal how they, through outside constructs, all right, of the U.S. Constitution, all right. They trap you up with outside constructs that's outside of the U.S. Constitution, which is illegal, and these constructs of a foreign entity, of a foreign treaty, and it is actually illegal to put a U.S. citizen under a foreign treaty. All right, so I've learned so much in my battle, in this battle with Title 4D in these courts, and these lawyers and these judges hate me. I'm telling you, I've been in a courtroom where I've actually silenced the lawyers where they couldn't even speak. They couldn't even say they couldn't even say objection, because they didn't want to speak. They didn't want to object, because then they would have had to speak about the content of what I was speaking about, and they didn't want to speak about it. So, like I said, some of the most treasonous people in America are lawyers, judges, and police officers themselves, for enforcing these fraudulent codes and statutes that go contradictory and against the law of the land. And the Constitution is the law of the land, which is why they want to get rid of it, right along with the Bible. Those two things are really hindering these people.
Conditions that they know or should have known about.
Bahamian police say they have arrested 2 suspects.
Carnival says they routinely share guidance to guests about keeping safe while on shore, adding that they are cooperating with the Bahamian police in the investigation.
If you think about it, this story doesn't even really make sense. So you was just innocently picking up seashells on the seashore, and these 2 Bahamian savages came out of nowhere, and out of all the women on the island, they decided to victimize you and another middle-aged mom from Kentucky. It doesn't even really make sense if you think about it. And it's crazy to me that these news companies, and we see this time and time again, these news companies will run these stories based on no evidence outside of 2 women crying about something that may have happened. So they blasted the Carnival Cruise Company, and they completely humiliated these 2 guys, dragging them to jail in front of their parents, in front of their neighbors, in front of their communities, all based on lies. Cheat on your husband.
Hold on. And get rewarded. And that's what happens in America. This is Revelation 12:12. And it says, "Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth he have but a short time." All right. So they're just going to come at you and continually try to oppress you. All right. As a matter of fact, let me jump up to verse 10, which is actually what I really wanted to read. It says, "And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now is come salvation and strength, and the kingdom of our power, and the power of his Mashiach. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accuse them before our power day and night, and they accuse us through their media." Because there are more crimes, statistically crimes are done more by so-called white people in America. Look when you look up the FBI statistics, every time they outdo so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans in violent crimes and really bad crimes. Most of petty crimes is done by Jake. The real horrific crimes and white-collar crime, where millions and billions are stolen or taken, is always done by them. The most violent acts against cops are done by them, but you would never know that, because the media always has to keep a melanated face, especially one of a so-called Negro or Latino man in the media, because they don't want the pale male to be the face of crime, or the pale woman. And the truth of the matter is, especially in these last 5-6 months, with all these Edomite women killing their families and their children and their husbands, it's not even the Edomite male as of lately. It's been the Edomite woman herself. And these two women should be put in jail and paid fines. And have to pay fines. And if I was there, if these were one of them was my wives, she wouldn't be my wife anymore. All right. You don't just get to go to the island, and get some BBC. And they probably tag team them. They probably switched on them and everything. They got down and dirty with it. All right. They've been best friends since H, the little program H thing. I forget what it's called. All right. So they wanted to, get tag teamed by some BBC, and that's exactly what they did.
But then you felt so guilty about it that you internalized the lie to make yourself seem like the victim. And this comes from the feminist mentality that women are always victims in interactions with men, even if they consent to it, even if it's their decision. It's gotten so bad that there are certain colleges in America where women can retroactively withdraw consent now. That means up until a week after a sexual interaction they have with another classmate, they can retroactively withdraw consent, and that male classmate could get in trouble for something that she consented to.
Yep, and that happens. Okay, that definitely happens. He's gonna play a story at the end of the video that kind of clarifies that, which I think is really sick. It makes you think about that comedy skit that Dave Chappelle did. We made the woman sign a contract that she said she was okay with this, and that she wouldn't speak about it if he was lousy. But nevertheless, it's kind of funny. Dave Chappelle, funny dude. But it's like, well, damn, do I have to have a contract that I have to pull out? Just to say, well, to prove that you was cool with this, that this was consensual. All right. This is ridiculous, because you can turn around and say, well, I know I consented then, but now, now I regret it. And you know what? I'm going to press charges on you and destroy your life. And you got to, get kicked out of college and have to go to jail and lose everything.
Guys, this is crazy. I made a video last night about these two moms from Kentucky who were on a Carnival cruise and made a stop at Grand Bahama, and apparently
Daphne here has
Son of a... When I watched this video, there were no interruptions, man.
Apparently, two of the staff members there slipped some DRUGs into their drinks and then SA'd them. Well, the resort and the cruise line is saying that their story is completely wrong and that they made this whole thing up. So the resort is called Pirates Cove, and they have 16 cameras around the resort, and it basically captured everything.
Receipts!
This account on the Book of Faces has a video that's just full of information. But basically, they said upon further review of their surveillance videos, the allegations made on site and in subsequent social media posts and news stories conflict with what the time-stamped surveillance videos contain. As such, the lengthy videos of all concerned have been handed over to the local police and will be shared with our industry partners as needed. And then the resort goes on to say that the two guys were terminated, but because they violated the zero tolerance policy. So here's a timeline according to their footage. The girls entered the property at 8:17 in the morning. They were greeted by staff at 8:24. Then at 9:40, one of the girls met with one of the guys who's being accused. Then at 10:06, you can see them, looks like they're walking arm in arm with these two guys. They were headed towards the western side of the beach where the alleged incident took place. Now check out this video and then listen to what they have to say about it.
Refused to let us see a U.S. position or a Carnival position.
Refused to let us have a rape kit done immediately. Made us go to the bathroom.
But guys, they wouldn't even give us a rape kit after we had been. They refused. They made us go to the bathroom and use toilet tissue, and they collected toilet tissue as their specimens.
And then they did an alcohol test on us like we were just super drunk. We had hardly any alcohol in our system at all.
Well, the resort says that...
Well, had plenty of semen. What's that old song from DJ, what's it, DJ Chip? Bang, 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 ski, ski, ski. Bang, 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 ski, ski. These bras, they got it in, boy. They got it in.
Their EMS offered medical assistance to both of the girls, but they declined and even signed a waiver. And then they left for the cruise ship in a private vehicle. But knowing the gravity of the incident, their officers boarded the cruise ship, providing an SA kit and hospital form to the ship's medical doctor. So that's completely different than what the girls are saying. And just to throw in there is now a GoFundMe with a $10,000 goal. Apparently,
wow. man, this is Jeremiah 3:1, and I hope their husbands and their families and you know have seen. Well, it says this has been viewed 176 times, and that's just on this one video. So it's probably been shared on Facebook and other platforms, and so this probably been. So I can say if it's been almost 200,000 views right here, and it's probably on a whole bunch of. So this has probably been seen over 1 million times by now. I mean, at least. But this is Jeremiah 3:1, and it reads, "They say if a man put away his wife and she go from him, and because another man shall and become another man's, shall he return unto her again? Shall not the land be greatly polluted?" The land is speaking about her womb, all right? Because she let they're from Kentucky, and I'm pretty sure that they're. These moms, they showed pictures of them. These moms were more than likely they're married to pale males, and they got little pale children. And but they wouldn't let some BBC dip into their water, so they're polluted now. All right. The science has proved that the DNA of a man stays in a woman a lifetime. So they've allowed these men to to pollute. And they probably were already polluted anyway, but nevertheless, further pollute them after they've made a contractual marriage. All right. So in the ancient world, these women would be, they would be unalived. As a matter of fact, those two men that did this act would be unalived too, especially if they knew, that these women were married. If they didn't know, you got to pass proper judgment. But if these men were aware that these women, because sometimes women will tell you that they don't have a man, all right. But that's that toxic femininity which has engulfed Babylon because of Esau. Edom is so weak, all right, and giving these women this power. And they're destroying, and they really have to help be a big part of the destruction of American society with these women that are just free to gad about and get rewarded. All right, so they're gonna go get a GoFundMe for committing fraud, for committing a lie, and and these, like I said, these men could have. Depending on where they were, they could have got put to death over this lie. All right. Hey, so with that, I'll give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Bakah HaKodash, Kwam Yasharala, Shalom.